You know, in the UK, as opposed to the US, we have this belief that 3 to 4 years worth of intensive drama school training is enough to set us up and maintain us throughout our entire career. It's almost like we develop this belief that the instant we graduate, we have all of the tools and all of the skills that are needed. Nothing else needs to be developed, and it's all just about implementing it over the course of 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years worth of a career. In the US, however, they are massive advocates for going to class, of actually attending acting workshops and classes regularly, because they don't stand by the belief that 3 years worth of intensive training is going to be the thing that guides you through an entire career. I'm actually a massive advocate for both processes. And by that I mean not one or the other, but having both working together. So you do your 3 or 4 years of training, of honing those skills and developing yourself as an artist. And then when you go out into the industry and actually forge a career, that you are continuously maintaining and topping up your skills through class. It's kind of like going to the gym. You're gonna spend a large amount of time learning how to use the equipment, strengthening and toning and growing your muscles, working on your stamina and really pushing yourself. And then you want to maintain the body that you've developed. And you're not going to do that by not going to the gym ever again. You're gonna continuously go to the gym, but you're just going to be working to maintain the body that you already have. Because you can't expect to be of bodybuilder status when you're just sitting on the couch eating crisps. Skills need constant attention or they will wane. And if you think about it, as actors, we are only ever going to be in work as an actor probably 10% of the time, if you're lucky. The rest of the time you're going to be doing muggle jobs. So your attention and your skill set just won't be utilized. So by consistently investing in yourself, investing in your skills, you're going to keep them nice and sharp so that when an audition comes around or a job comes around, you're actually ready for it. So here's a short list of all of the skills that I personally think that every professional actor should be paying attention to when you have downtime. So let's start with sight reading. This comes up so often in auditions, in workshops, in rehearsed readings, in voiceover work. It is like a permanent fixture of being an actor. So this is a skill that you need to have sharpened at all times. And you'd be surprised how many actors, professional or applying to drama school, how many of them just are not comfortable with the idea of sight reading. And not just from the technical component of picking up a piece of paper, seeing words on the page, and then actually reading them out loud for the first time with no preparation time, but actually doing what actors do, making bold, brave, creative choices with the words that you're speaking. Now look, words are an actor's currency. And if you can't use words effectively in those situations, then that is a big problem. And out in the industry, that could be holding you back. Now, most drama schools will touch on sight reading, but in my opinion, not enough. So it is a skill that you do develop during training, but going out into the industry, paving your way through your career, this is a skill you need to be paying attention to. Next up is self-tape skills. Now, self-tapes are basically the expected industry standard for a first round audition. Not always, but a large percentage of first rounds are self-tapes. So as a professional actor, you need to have a really sturdy process for shooting them, editing them, and sending them off. That goes for effective framing, lighting, audio, as well as a compelling performance. All of those components are the things that are going to get you closer to getting a job. And although the technical components aren't actually as important as the performance element, they can be a huge barrier that you're putting in front of the audition panel for them to be able to make a constructive, objective view of your work. Because if the framing is off, if you are covered in shadow, and if they can't hear you properly, then how are they going to make an accurate assessment? Now also, if you are one of those actors that loves to carp on with, but I'm so much better in the room, get a grip. Seriously, I'm pretty sure that most actors are better in the room. I would argue that having an extra little bit of adrenaline and nerves and the ability to actually connect to another person who is right there in front of you in the room with you, yeah, you're gonna do better, probably. But I'm sorry, self-tapes are industry standard. Like it or not, you've gotta be able to actually do it. And if you wanna get ahead and if you want the jobs, then don't begrudge the fact that you have to self-tape, just do it and get good at it. Musical instruments. I had an audition a while ago for a really good show directed by a really good director, and my agent called me up and they were like, so they want you to audition for this, but they also want you to play an instrument. We noticed that you've got ukulele on your Spotlight CD. Are you cool with that? And I hadn't picked my ukulele up in over a year? But of course, to your agent, on the phone, yes. God, you can tell I'm a millennial. Fucking hell. Yes, of course I can play the ukulele, no problem. Less than a week for the audition? All right, sure. Yeah, I can do that, no problem. I was terrified. I actually called in sick to work because I wanted to practice ahead of time, because I was not prepared. I didn't have any songs up my sleeve. I'd forgotten all of the chords. It was so out of tune, it was ridiculous. But I practiced and I went to the audition and it was okay. It was all right. And I'm pretty sure that that wasn't the only element that didn't get me the job. I'm not delusional to that, that's fine. But that's just an example of not keeping skills sharp. If it's on your CV, you need to know how to do it. Lesson learned. So if you do have a musical instrument on your CV, make sure that you are practicing 15 to 20 minutes per day. That's literally all it takes. Have a couple of songs up your sleeve so that if an audition comes along, you've got something there. Now for the people that don't have a musical instrument on their CV, if musical instruments are completely new to you, what I would recommend doing is choose something that is handheld. A lot of the time, if casting directors or directors are requesting actors who also have a musical instrument to play during a show, it's something that's to be incorporated within the show, as opposed to you being like a band that stands over there. So if you need things to be hooked up to amplifiers, or you need a piano, or things like that, they're not as capable of incorporating that within the action of the piece. Thinking about things like ukuleles, flutes, percussion style instruments, they're really, really versatile. Accordions even, violins, all of that kind of stuff is going to be hugely beneficial for you. And it'll also keep your brain really, really active if you're learning a new skill, and it's a creative skill as well. You have a creative outlet, you're learning something new, and if you go and actually kind of join a club, or you get a teacher, or you learn online, or whatever, you actually start to develop a bit more of a community. It's great. That, and you get it on your CV. That, and you take it into audition rooms. That, and you can get a job. Do it! Some kind of physical hobby. No, I'm not saying that you need to be going and running Ironman, or, you know, going to the gym 50 million times a week, or trying to get into the Olympics. I'm not saying that. It could be as simple as going to yoga or Pilates, or yeah, going to the gym, swimming, cycling, running, dance classes, five-a-side football, anything that is going to keep your body active. Like I said, actors have a lot of downtime, or you're going to be doing your muggle job. Physical activity is going to boost your mood. It's going to protect your sanity. It's going to protect your well-being. It gets you out of the house. It increases strength, flexibility, stamina, all of those things that you need if you're going to be doing 8 shows a week. It gets you interacting with other people and potentially honing a skill that, again, you can put on your CV. But just make sure that you are choosing something that you enjoy, because if you enjoy it, then you can keep it consistent. If you dread doing it every single time, then you're not going to be able to sustain yourself through it. So if you like yoga, do yoga. Don't do bodybuilding. It's really, really simple. And I have left the most important one until last. Here we go. You should be developing and maintaining the skill of audition technique. Now look, you are going to be auditioning 90% more than you are going to be actually working. It is a sad but true reality. So we need to accept it, and we also need to accept the fact that we need to get good at it. Because what is the point in putting all of your effort into developing the skills that are going to be used when you're in work when you can't even get the work? The auditioning is the thing that is going to be most commonly approached by an actor rather than the job. So that is where your practice, your attention, your knowledge needs to go to. So these are things like how you're going to break down your audition text and do it quickly, because auditions can come in at the last minute. Your interview technique, questions to ask, things that you know you're going to be asked, dealing with nerves on the day, taking on and adapting to redirection, and even just your ability to walk confidently into a room. The thing is, I see it so much, professional actors and actors auditioning for drama school, of just thinking, it'll be fine, and winging it. Auditions are important. They are the means to the end of you getting the thing that you want, which is a job or the place at drama school. That is the hurdle that you need to jump over. Because if somebody was running a hurdling race, they are not just going to be running on flat ground the whole time. No, they are going to be paying attention to the fact that there is a hurdle there, and they're going to practice jumping over some hurdles. You can't just ignore the fact that hurdles are there. Come on. I mean, the thing is, the winging it scenario, yeah, that could get you a job. It could do. Not consistently. Eventually, your luck will run out because you are just relying on instinct. You're just relying on winging it, and you don't have a sturdy foundation with which to fall back on. And that is going to work to your detriment. Now, in the end, an acting career is not for Christmas. It is for life, or for however long you wish to be in the industry. And in order to have longevity within it, you need to be investing in your skills, constantly learning, growing, evolving. You can't just rely on 3 years worth of training, graduate and think, oh, well, I'm ready and this is going to sustain me for what? 30 years? 3 years to sustain you for 30 years? No! You need to be developing skills in order to sustain yourself when you're not employed, which is more often than you're going to be employed, unless you're very lucky. So there we go. They were my top tips for what you should be doing to maintain yourself and your skills throughout your acting career. Now, if I missed any that you think are really, really important, then just pop them in the comments below. Make sure that you like and subscribe the channel for more of these kinds of videos. But until next time,